On a tear, the Jamaica Stock Exchange is the world's best performing stock market, producing more than 500% returns over the past 5 years. Not long ago, we spoke with the Jamaica Stock Exchange Managing Director in November about the boom. Take a listen.
The business people, the consumers, we are optimistic about what is going on in Jamaica. And over those couple of years, what we also have been doing is encouraging Jamaican companies to do better in terms of their corporate governance, training, etc. So we have been putting in the hard work for the companies to perform well, and it is paying dividend.
The island is now testing the depths of the market with the nation's biggest ever IPO, plus recent demand for ETFs that track Jamaica's performance. So for more, let's bring in David Mullings, Mahoe Capital Partners founder, chairman, and CEO, currently working to launch one of those ETFs in the U.S. and Canada. So everyone's looking at those juicy returns, but not easy access to it for American investors. What are the hurdles at this point for you to get an ETF into the U.S. market?
So thankfully, the SEC changed the rules around November of last year, 2019. So it's simpler, it's faster, and it's cheaper to launch one. But if you looked at NYSE listings, for example, to list an ETF, the biggest problem is actually that we have a market cap minimum of $100 million US for 90% of the weight. So that eliminates the majority of the actual stocks on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. It eliminates the junior market, which is also booming. So that's one of the issues. The second one, though, is that we have a custodian issue. If you look at the 40 Act, this is a 40 Act fund. Jamaica is not a 17F5 location, a jurisdiction. So we have to secure an eligible foreign custodian. We've been working on that, thankfully. Dwayne Morris and Nanette Hyde have been really helpful, and we're working with a really good team of ETF players. And what we've done is put together an ETF with 26 stocks, 90% exposure to Jamaica. Now, once we solve that custodian problem, we can then finally get it launched.
So that's one option. Another option that's been talked about is just taking Mahoe Capital itself and listing that, and that could then be a vehicle for some investors to be exposed to Jamaica.
Right. And so the original idea, I'm a Warren Buffett fan. So we wanted to do...
Everyone's a Warren Buffett.
Everybody should be a Warren Buffett fan. So we looked at Mahoe Capital as being an investment holding company that could do both public and private company options. To give an example, the ETF wouldn't be able to exist in a company called Cygnus Credit Investments. This is the largest alternative investment firm in the Caribbean. We participated in their IPO last year as a test run, just to understand moving money between the US and Jamaica, working with our custodians, Jamaica National Fund Managers. The US dollar stock we bought, they listed USD and JMD. The USD is up 60% in a year, or the JMD one is up over 140%. Our ETF wouldn't get access to that. So we think it's going to be better to have an ETF and also look at Mahoe Capital itself listing, and we're working closely with an investment bank here in New York that's working with us on that.
So you've identified a handful of companies that I guess are either Jamaican or they have heavily exposure to Jamaica that reach that market cap threshold imposed by the SEC. If an investor is buying into this, what are the big sectors that would encompass? What kind of areas?
So I love that question. Jamaica's sectors are not as diverse as the US, but we still have some key ones. The biggest one will be financials. If we look at any emerging market, when they start to grow and you're moving people into the middle class from working class, they need financial services. So that usually grows 4 to 5 times faster than GDP. So NCB Financial Group, for example, owned by Michael Leachin, a Jamaican-Canadian billionaire, that's a great one in our opinion, and a simple reason why we think Jamaica is a great option, perception versus reality. If you had $100,000 and he invested in 2002, and he looked at Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, he did an S&P 500 index fund, and he could buy NCB stock. So this is Jamaica. Nobody would expect to look at that. As of June 30th last year, 2019, the S&P 500 money, your 100K, would be about $363,000. So a good return, can't complain. The Buffett stock, Berkshire, would be $444,000. If you had bought NCB, though, and held all through the IMF problems, Today, June 30th, 2019, it would have been worth $2.79 million.
So, I mean, if you're walking into the office of a portfolio manager here in the U.S. or in some other major country, I mean, what then becomes the selling point? I mean, beyond just, you know, the economic boom and other things that are going on in Jamaica, from an investment standpoint, I mean, what do you sell them on? Is it just sort of the nearshoring opportunity for U.S. companies or what?
So I think nearshoring is one, but more importantly, they need to think of Singapore in the Western Hemisphere. I think that's where it is. Jamaica has this...
Singapore in the Western Hemisphere.
Okay. Jamaica has a seventh...
That's a bold claim.
Well, it should be. I mean, Jamaica has the seventh largest natural harbor in the world, similar to Singapore. We're next door to one of the largest markets, just like Singapore is with China. Jamaica is here with the U.S. If you close your eyes coming out of the Panama Canal, you run aground in Jamaica.
Real quickly, in that clip we played, the CEO of the Jamaican Stock Exchange, she talked about the need to improve corporate governance in the meantime for Jamaican-listed companies. What kind of evidence is there that that's happening?
So they have mentorship programs for the junior market itself, and then we obviously have NASDAQ's platform is now running the stock exchange, so that has allowed them to bring other people down there to help with corporate governance. And I've spoken to some of the CEOs in Jamaica who are using Harvard business case studies for their governance.